Roarshock is our feature this evening. He's a San Francisco poet and performance artist, author of the chapbook First Hours of a Rainy Day and Other Poems. He reads, there you go. He reads regularly, locally, and internationally. He is the longtime publisher of Roarshock's Page, a literary street flyer, and in the write-up, I did use the link for that. Now, also, you've read overseas in person in Paris, isn't that right?
Several times, and what a
Yes,
thrill.
yes. So you are an internationally known poet and artist of note and merit. So what I'm going to do now is mute myself and turn the mic to you. All right, there we go. 3, 2, and you.
And so I am treated because I get to feature here tonight on the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, Sacred Ground, since 1972, I believe. And this is 2023. Hi, Sierra. The lake is ice blue, and higher are the white peaks where ice giants play. The mountains gleam from far away. In the sunset on the lake, the shaggy man howls at the wind. Giant mountain. The giant mountain of San Francisco could be accessed via certain hidden roads continuing on above the summits of Telegraph Hill, Russian Hill, Pacific Heights, west of Twin Peaks, and there may well have been, and probably were, additional routes from other high places in the city. All these diverse paths converged on a hollow sandy plain, the approaching paths fading out behind in obscurity and shadow. From this plain, the dark, sheer slopes of the giant mountain rose into the ether, its higher reaches out of sight. The cliffs were split by a canyon with a narrow, long, and winding road running into it. And following this road up from the sandy plain through the canyon with a sliver of sky far above, eventually it opened and flowed out into the higher plain, which was a landscape of rolling grassy California slopes, green in the wet season, golden in the dry. On this plain, there were jumbled stones and broken sculptures and structures resembling the ancient heads of Easter Island, the standing rocks of Stonehenge, and other relics both familiar and hauntingly unknown and seemingly from the far future and the deepest reaches of antiquity. From this plain, the higher reaches extended into the upper air with the summit of the highest peak obscured by cloud. The road that went up there was reduced to a small footpath which only the most hardy, brave, or foolhardy dared to climb. It was rumored and said that at the ultimate summit, the peak had a round space and there was a meeting place for rather influential beings, greater than or less than ordinary human beings. Call them gods and or angels and or demons and or extraterrestrials. Call them time travelers and or archetypes of the collective unconscious. Whatever they are called, they have cosmic pull in arranging the fates and storylines from amid all the chaos of the universe, from the top of the mountain, or so it was said, and with nearly perfected vision, what one could see the promised land. Sometimes the extravagant beings whoever they might embody or represent, came down from the peak onto the higher plane. And there sometimes encountered ordinary people who had found the hidden roads and with courage had followed the canyon road to the plain. Such meetings could be most enlightening or terrifying for the people and or for the gods. If one looked over the edge of this plain, it was like looking over the edge of a cloud or a dense bank of high fog and see far below the sparkling jewel of San Francisco with the other glittering cities of the bay and the golden land of California beyond, day and night. Whatever era this view revealed changed and depended on the hour, day, and year when observed, and on the weather. Okay. Public excerpt from my public transportation poem. Early next morning, from Liverpool, Lime Street, on the train to Chester, switched to North Wales Coast Railway, Railford, Arforth, Gogledd, Cymru, to Llandudno Junction and Bano Fastanaw. Signs now in 2 languages and no sign of the Union Jack. I am in a new country. Switch to Lloyd's coach buses for travel on to Porthmadog and Portmeirion, riding with the locals. For me, a truly new landscape in an ancient land. When back again on the bus to Bangor, I notice the prehistoric stone circle just over there in the field next to the fork in the road. Those short old dudes walking along the high street, they know something about it. The train ends in Holyhead at the end of Wales in the howling wind and the old tavern and rooms by the ferry terminal to wait the night here and share stories with weathered sailors on this far outpost of the old world. Land's End. According to Mayan calculations, the current cycle of the world will end in December 2012, with some disagreement over whether the wild and rocky edit screen will break apart at Sutro Baths, ruin live HD surf cam, or watch a hovercraft land on San Francisco's Ocean Beach as part of a mad ride past the event horizon. Already considered prehistoric evidence indicates that Land's End was a seasonal campsite for the Ohlone people, with a strong emphasis on fiction and jazz music, and a long line of books into the outer Richmond, and separated for other years of history by a group of young, discharged mental patients, said once to have dwelt in Hyperborea, who came to argue for the south of Market nightclubs and the new wave industries of Media Gulch, which would be fine were it not for the reality shortage and the impending and demonstrated result of too much real-time video game play acting shoot 'em ups and too many earbuds and brain spouts and sprouts and gouts that eerily hurt too many and help no one, not even a blessed angel in disguise. We need to get off Muni and take a walk in the open air along Land's End Trail to find memories of many journeys. See a small child, your father, walking with your grandfather long ago. The fogs and blues of ocean and sky last forever, and north and west, the memories of old lost Lemuria. Bring your camera and reunite with your loved ones in an attempt to top that horse and rider mail delivery found at Land's End Labyrinth. Only a cable car and a 38L ride away, walking slowly in the winter solstice light out of the silence of the wind's roar. Here you may encounter a terrifying giant stepmother or a troll who may hand you a sieve and tell you, go fill it at the well at Land's End and bring it beneath the Golden Gate Bridge, plunged into mystery that portends the end of the most beautiful places I have ever seen over the Pacific Ocean. Above rocks populated by lounging seals, there once was a cat named Silvara who ruled many worlds. And even in lost Lemuria, consult the ancient pre-Atlantean book of Daizan by the Mahatmas. This place and time ascribes the truth of the ascended ones and great humanity, which claims that seeks survivors of sunken Lemuria live or lived or yet will live inside of Mount Shasta in Northern California. These Lemurians dwell hidden within a complex of tunnels beneath the mountain, but occasionally are seen walking on the mountain dressed in white robes. Secrets kept and secrets ignored. Remember, the Bay Bridge, the Richmond Bridge, the Carquinez Strait bridges have trolls and tolls. Tough, tough trolls. The Golden Gate Bridge has that pot of true gold, and this San Francisco landmark grins in all and any weather and has many lives. So while digesting that oracle and looking for a way ahead, we recapitulate that this page focuses on the Pony Express route that operated from timbers of the sailing ship King Philip, wrecked at Ocean Beach, along the route of the hovercraft that landed to avert the fiscal cliff, right where San Francisco begins at the Golden Gate. Across the wide Missouri, across the Great Plains, mountains and deserts, and all along the banks of the old Sacramento. Astronomers have been watching a fate comet on a leisurely, idiosyncratic tour of the fabled fireball explosion that appeared to rip the sky apart, where Mark Twain, who saw the Pony Express in action firsthand, described the riders that proudly served an American Western television series with thrilling images of racing across treacherous terrain west out of St. Joseph. The 49er trope dissolves with untarnished retro-futuristic post-war expansionism and superhero round-the-horn art thrills at a friendly smile which can be summed up in 2 words. Slow mail. 49ers created a combined mix and split apart mixes, multimedia and peaceful creation away from urban chaos near the largest world wheel sculpture using early birds split apart on the mirror and expanded on the westernmost live HD cam stream. The false alarm was only a test. Our wilderness can never be invaded by any drone. One comic book crossover storyline published laminates and publicity packs about random, mysterious religious groups, which contain bewildered multitudes who worship at Seal Rocks. And they claim to know the secret password of the trolls. Mayan mystery calendars apprehend the fakeness of borders and applaud our new applications of fictional mythologies. Some poems speak like cold winter air of a sheer precipice within the park and the hidden mountain, and yet marvelously find shelter in mysterious little eyes filled with love. Yes, she kisses and incites, others console. As the poet maestro of his own social science fiction film, and others have noted, there's hardly a date in history so significant to so many cultures, so many religions, scientists, thieves and beggars, artists and lovers, glowing and mingling around undiscovered friendly role playing with their fellow creatures who are not limited to beaches, to rocky cliffs, to crash of surf and rush of wind and the sun sinking behind the Pacific Ocean horizon, who did not at least a little bit wonder, mysterious wonder. What a breath of fresh air, what a good stretch in the wind. Many internet websites falsely say that the world will end in December 2012, but the world will not end in 2012. Mahalo. Giant Mountain. Many times I climbed the giant mountain in dreams and always was surprised to have arrived there. In the midst of lucid dreams, perhaps I was driving a tomato red Jeep or a small white Toyota pickup truck or a little red Geo Metro LSI or a science fiction tank or the big truck that gets sent out when minibuses break down. Sometimes I was pursued by bad guys, as in some melodramatic cinematic scene, bouncing across the hills and skyline of the streets of San Francisco. Then around some hidden turn and up a steep drive, its sides heavy and thick with hanging brambles and ivy, and emerge onto the hollow sandy plain and speed from there up the treacherous canyon, screeching around the narrow upward spiraling curves until I would arrive on the rolling expanse of the higher plane. No bad guys could follow me there, as they had no map and did not know the way. So I would stop my vehicle, get out and walk around, looking over the views, feeling the breeze blow, sometimes hot and sometimes cold. I saw the little trail that went way up to even further impossible heights, to the highest peak of the giant mountain, always obscured by cloud. But I did not climb up there. It was not yet the time for me to go that high and look out upon the promised land. Even though this was in my dream, it was currently best to get the feel of my feet on the grass of the higher plane. I got to know the hidden road fairly well and would often travel back and forth between the mundane world, as mundane as San Francisco ever is, and the higher realm of whispering grasses and silent sands. If I saw a swirling cloud surrounded by lightning and thunder approaching, I understood it most likely concealed a god and would quickly leave and return to the land below, having a feeling that was the most wise and prudent thing to do. Where earth meets sky, on a high mountain pass, all about me peaks, crowned with clouds, deep valley wells. The wind blows alive, mountains as far as the eye can see. The walk sweat cool upon me, balanced in the sky. I strip off my outer skin and fling it on the wind. And one more short one, and then I'll be done. Saxmar the Unholy. The words are their own magic, as only magic could do for the full treatment. Nonsense. I ask you, who is the purple cow? The walls grow round one's arms, bare arms are the toughest. Why is that? Would you call this poetry? It must be called something. Things without names are too revolutionary. Thank you.
That's the best reading I've ever heard you do. That was fabulous.
Thank you,
Unmute,
David.
ladies and gentlemen, unmute.
That was marvelous.
Wow.
Non-stop. You rolled right through it. That was beautiful.
Incredible.
And yeah, and it still went longer than when I timed it earlier today. So thanks for watching the time.
Beautiful set. Beautiful set. Well done. Well done.
Thanks so much for having me. It's such a treat. Like I was saying, this is the thing, man. Sacred grounds, man.